Hello, hello, and welcome to the show. That's right, this is episode number 361 of the Delaware Blogger Podcast. And I'm your host, Antionette Blake, better known as the DE Diva, aka the Delaware Blogger. And every week I come to you with podcasting pointers that will help you to share your mission and your vision by simply using your voice. Now, a new episode of the Delaware Blogger Podcast publishes every Saturday at 10 a.m. And if you wish to sponsor a show, please send an email to info@ablakeenterprises.com. Now, on today's episode, we're going to be talking about beating the boomer bias with a podcast, right? We're going to be diving into the world of social media, more specifically, podcasting. So if you're over the age of 50 and you're ready to share your life experiences with the world, stick around because I've got some fantastic tips for you. Hello, hello, and welcome to the show. And I invite you to subscribe to the Delaware Blogger Podcast because every week I am giving you podcasting pointers that will help you to broaden your brand and expand your exposure online. That's right, every Saturday at 10 a.m. here on the Delaware Blogger Podcast, you are getting new episodes, new content. And when you're not here on a Saturday or perhaps during the week, you can follow me on all my social media platforms by simply using the hashtag Delaware Blogger on my Linktree ID. And for more information, send an email to info@ablakeenterprises.com. Welcome to the Delaware Blogger Podcast. Remember, listen in and then share this with a friend. Beating the boomer bias with a podcast. Yep, that's today's episode. Now, I know some of you might feel just a bit overwhelmed by, all this tech savvy world of social media, but don't be afraid. I'm going to break it down in simple steps if you're thinking about starting a podcast. And the best way to embrace the technology that you're going to be using is via your smartphone. So you know how to use your smartphone, right? You passed up and given up the flip phone and the jitterbug and all that. You've got a smartphone. Get comfortable with that smartphone. Did you get a new one for the holidays? If not, it is so easy to use the one that you've had before. I know everyone wants to get the new model of this phone, that phone, and next phone, but as long as your smartphone is there, you can use it for more than just taking calls or texting. It's a great tool for creating content. Become familiar with the camera. Become familiar with the voice recording and note taking features. Don't worry, you don't need to be a tech wizard, right? Just familiarize yourself with how to record and how to take notes, which if that works for you, or if you want to do a visual podcast, set up the camera. So get comfortable with your smartphone. That's the first step. The second step is to choose a free, that's what I said, free, my favorite F word, free hosting platform. So when it comes to starting a podcast, you don't need to go out and get a whole bunch of fancy equipment right away. You can also find a free hosting platform like Spotify, aka Anchor. Remember when I started in 2017, I started on Anchor FM, which is now owned by Spotify. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It is still a free hosting platform. It's user friendly. Everyone knows it. Just sign up and you're ready to go. You're ready to start recording with your smartphone and sharing your stories, your information, your education, your inspiration, your motivation with the world. So the second step is choosing a free platform. The third step is planning your episodes. Now let's think about this. I've talked about choosing your topic or choosing your niche in previous episodes, and I invite you to go back and listen to those shows as well. But think about the topic that you're passionate about. What life experiences do you want to share? Remember, this is your show. Get away from that imposter syndrome, doing what everyone else is doing. Do you, boo boo? Whether it's parenting advice, travel stories, or even simple home hacks. Right now, you can go and look on TikTok and see all these young people talking about these hacks that we've been doing for years. You know, whatever you want to talk about, plan out your episodes in advance and keep your content engaging. You don't want to be doing the same thing over and over again. So plan it out, whether you handwrite it out, you use a calendar. Every week on my calendar, I have the episode number and what I'm going to be talking about. So that's the third step, planning out your episodes. And you know what? There are so many popular topics for us boomers and beyond. Whether you're talking about, again, travel, family, navigating life, there are things that we can share with not only fellow boomers, but the younger generation as well. You know, we're transitioning into retirement. Perhaps we're dealing with an empty nest or even starting a new career. I just talked to my sister and she was saying how someone had retired after, 30, 40 years, but she's still not ready to retire. So she's looking for something part-time. So use your experience, your previous experiences as a guide for those that may be going through some similar changes. There's always tips out there for home and life, like I said, those TikTok videos on basic home cleaning, house cleaning, those that never go out of style. Trust and believe. There may be different, easier ways to do it, but they never, ever go out of style. And those topics are especially good for college students, new parents, people that are just leaving home for the first time and never realized what all was all involved that their mother and father did for them. So that's another great topic for us boomers and beyond. Lessons from the past. Taking a trip down memory lane and sharing stories from your past. I love storytelling. If you love storytelling, history is a great way to connect the generations. And you are using your unique perspective to make it come alive for others. So that is what you want to think about. When you're planning out those episodes, you've chosen your topic, think about that audience. Think about the people that you're going to be talking to, right? Whether it's lessons from the past, tips for home and life, or just navigating life's transitions. Those are some popular topics for us boomers. All right. So the next thing we want to think about that we did, step one was getting comfortable with your smartphone. Step two was choosing that free hosting platform. Step three was planning out your content or your episodes. So step four is actually thinking of a title of your podcast. What's it going to be? Golden Voices, stories and insights from seasoned souls, or, think about something catchy that's going to get people motivated and inspired to listen to your podcast, as well as some great cover art that you can create yourself on Canva. You can ask somebody to create your cover art, but once you've told them, that you have a podcast, what your title is going to be, what your episodes are going to be about, that'll help you be creative. Now, this is just the basics, really, really basics. These are, I mean, to get started, because I want you to get started in 2024. I have that book, Podcasting Your Purpose Resource Guide, that's still available. I'll leave the link to purchase that resource guide in the show notes. So you can click that and then you'll get a whole bunch more information. But I'm not going to take up a lot of your time today, but I do want you to know that podcasting is not just for the young crowd, boomers and beyond, right? That's us. We can break that bias. We can get into the podcasting world. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to beat the boomer bias and, start your podcasting journey. Remember, your stories are invaluable and the world. They want to hear them, believe it or not. And if you found this episode to be helpful, make sure that you subscribe and share it with your fellow boomers. And if you want me to continue with other tips for us specifically, which is what I've been gearing not only my podcast towards, but also my blog, adeleblogger.com. Every Wednesday, I have Wellness Wednesday tips. So I'm embracing this new phase in my life in 2024 and beyond. So I want to thank you all for tuning in today and listening to this episode of the Delaware Blogger Podcast. And if you found anything that I've said to be of interest to you, please subscribe, share with others. Hey, leave a rating and a review too. And check out some other episodes while you're here as well. Subscribe to my blog, adeleblogger.com, because there you're going to find more podcasting pointers as well as blogging tips if you still like to write, as well as the link to purchase a copy of the two books I have. I have the Basic Blogging Tips for Beginners and the Podcasting Your Purpose Resource Guide. So thank you very much for listening to episode number 361 of the Delaware Blogger Podcast. And if you need any more information, that 7-step checklist, send an email to info@ablakeenterprises.com. Enjoy the rest of your day. And again, sharing is caring. So share this episode with your family, your friends, your bae, and your boo too. And until the next time, this is the DE Diva, aka the Delaware Blogger, wishing you and yours a beautifully blessed day. And don't forget, Out and About with Antionette podcast is every Wednesday, and that's where I interview some amazing people from in and around the state of Delaware that are doing positive things. So if that's you, send me an email. You know what to do. See ya. It's the DE Diva, aka the Delaware Blogger.